Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to continue our discussion on quant mode and performance analytics. This will be more of a review plus some some new lessons. But I don't want to load the new lessons because we'll be having our quiz on Tuesday. So we learned how to install and load packages. There are many ways to do that. One is to create this object containing your list of packages. This is a character vector. And then we created this function, okay, that will loop through the packages. If you can't load it, then you install it first and then load it. And then we run install and load packages. So let's load first our packages, quant mode, performance analytics. We have installed this in the past so that it should be available to you already. Okay, and let me sorry. Tendons mamaya na. Okay, or we can make use of this simple, straightforward Pacman function pload. Okay, we learned this in the past. Okay, I think, yeah, it's the same. So I'll not run it anymore because I have already run it a while ago. Okay, so quick review, class. We can make use of quant mode in order to load data. It can be auto-assigned. So let's load this data for our, we won't be able to use everything now, but let's just, as a practice, let's load Microsoft, Apple, Starbucks, Intel, Standard & Poor's, Goldman Sachs, Ford, Toyota Motors, Netflix, SPY, and QQQ. These are exchange-traded funds that track Standard & Poor's. Okay. So we can make use the basic get symbols without any additional qualification as to the start, as to the end, or whether it's coming from a particular source. This is just auto.assigned is equal to true, which means that this will be downloaded. And then it will be given the names similar to the ticker symbols. And then the start will be the default date, and then the end will be the latest trading day, trading record. Okay, so let's run this, populate our environment. So when you now check your environment, you can see now the assets that we downloaded through Yahoo Finance. And all of them are XTS objects. And the default is 2007. Okay. We can, of course, create an object which we choose for ourselves. In this case, I'm creating the app. I'm loading the Apple object. I'm naming it AAPL, small letters, but I will have to include this auto data sign is equal to false or environment is equal to null. So this will create AAPL or AAPL1. Okay, if I run this, and then if I check, AAPL and AAPL1 are here. Okay, they have exactly the same content as capital AAPL, only that these two have different names given to it. Okay, so this is just a quick review, class. Now we can also download data from whatever source, whether Yahoo or Fred. Okay, by specifying, we can load several data. Okay, this one we're creating a character vector. So you have Meta, Microsoft, Starbucks, Apple, AMD, and we can identify the date the start date and the end date. Here I'm choosing 1998 January 1, and the end date is the end day of 2023. So still we use the get symbols function, and then the name is a stock list, source is Yahoo. From starting date is equal to start, ending to the end. Periodicity is daily, auto data sign is equal to true. Although these two are default functions, so we don't actually need them because it will run this in the same way even if we don't include them. But still, I'm just putting it here for our information purposes. Okay, so once I run this, okay, Control Enter. Okay, the data which for example, the Microsoft data which I recently run, okay, it's still running. Okay, and now we have it. Notice that, for example, the Microsoft that we ran a while ago has now been overwritten by 1998. Okay, overwrite na siya. Okay, and if we check the structure of an object, let's say Microsoft, okay, we know that this is an XTS object. So the beginning date is 1998-01-02 until 2023-12-29. There was no trading on 30 and 31. That's why it only gave this date. 6,541 rows of observation with 6 columns. The columns being open, high, low, close, volume, and adjusted. And we have learned that, excuse me, we have learned that an XS object is special in the sense that if I view Microsoft here, the index is the date and you have this matrix of values. Okay, unlike a data frame where the index is just the counting number 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. For an XS object, the index is your date. And the time zone is the old name for the old name is GMT, or it's now called UTC, Universal Time Convention. Okay, it's a POSIX city object too, which means that it can take on time element here, the date and hours, minutes, and seconds. So kaya niyang mag-handle nun. All right, so let's just discuss some things about the XTS object. Okay, so this is just, I mentioned this already in the past, but I'd like to reiterate this. An XTS object is a very, very powerful way to deal with your time series data. Kasi usually ang time series natin, class, they may not follow an equally spaced regular calendar, most financial time series. Now, an XS object allows us to deal with financial time series that either are equally spaced or are not equally spaced. So strictly speaking, itong time series natin na to, diba kasi if it's from Yahoo, so usually the prices come from NYSE, NASDAQ, and other international exchanges. But a big bulk of it comes from New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ. And yung trading day dito will only be weekdays. So wala siyang Saturday, Sunday. In that case, nagiging not equally spaced, no? Kasi may mga lags tayo ng Saturday, Sunday, and only from 9:30 to 4 p.m. So may limitation yung data natin. But be that as it may, okay pa rin na kaya pa rin i-handle ng XTS object yung any type of financial series data, whether it's regularly equally spaced or not. Okay. Now also we have learned that sa XTS object, we can easily extract data from the XTS object. For example, we have this object, di ba? Microsoft 2023-10. Okay, let me just first share these notes with you for your reference. Okay, so Microsoft, I'm creating this object, Microsoft October of 2023. And what's the purpose, class, of this square brackets? Kindly answer, please, chat or unmute yourself. What's the purpose of this, class? These square brackets. Okay, thank you, Nicole. So that's for subsetting. Okay, so here we're subsetting, and we have to put in quotes here the date, Microsoft. This will now create an object called MSFT October 2023. And if I run this and view the object, Microsoft October 2023, so it contains, since it's subsetting only October 2023, then it includes all the columns, open, high, low, close, volume adjusted, but only for October, the month of October. Of course, I can create another object, but this time, let's say the closing price. So if that's what I want, then so this is for the row, and then we can include here for the column, it's column 4, for example. Yeah, let me just create another one. Control C, Control V. So this is closing CL. I just put CL underscore. Okay. So let's see what happens, class. What happens when you create this object? So you're subsetting October of 2023, and then this one, comma 4. So this refers to the column. Could you please tell me what what you get? Okay, what are you getting now? Okay, closing prices for October 23. Okay, thank you. All right, good. So you have closing prices for October 2023. So let me run this, Control Enter. Okay, October 2023, this one. So you can see it's the closing price of this particular month, of this particular year. Okay, so it's very easy, class, to do this in an XCS object. Okay, that's one feature of an XCS object. Now, basically, an XCS object contains two information. If I view again Microsoft, here you have the data itself, and this one is the index. So those are the two basic elements of an XCS object. Okay, so it's a matrix of data with different time series in the columns. Okay, and also you have the other one, the index. Okay, you have the data and the index. Okay, what's the purpose? Migs, kindly share your question to the others. And I'll request others to answer your question. Okay, Migs has a question here. What's the answer here, class? What's the answer to Migs' question? Anybody, please? Paki-chat na lang, or you may unmute yourself. Okay, thank you, Fredrich. Yeah, that's correct, no? So ito, when you're subsetting, by the way, this one refers to the rows. Okay, so this we're telling R to just include the rows of 2023 October, and this one, comma, this one for the column. So if you take a look at Microsoft, okay, the fourth column there is open, high, low, close there. So it will only include the fourth column. So that's why when you run this, it only included this one here, Microsoft closing here. So this is actually the fourth column, and these are the rows of October 2023. Okay. Okay. So sorry, who asked that? Migs, did that answer your question? Migs. Okay, good, good. Thank you for asking the question, Migs, and thank you. Thanks for those who chatted and answered. Thank you so much. Okay, as I was saying, ang XTS object, it contains two basic elements. First is a matrix of numeric data, and second is the index. We can actually uh, extract this one. Now, the XTS object is just an amplification. It's an extension of the zoo object. That's why when you load quant mode, you'll see there that some of the packages that are loaded also are zoo object, because zoo is a zoo package. Zoo is a package also. Then we have XTS package. You have the TTR package, etc. So the XTS object came from the zoo object. Okay, so it incorporates the time as an index. So why is it called zoo? Because it came from Akim. I'm not sure of the pronunciation. It's Xylise. Okay, I'm not sure of that. And so the zoo there stands for Xylise and ordered observation. So that's where the zoo name comes from. Okay, now we can extract. If I want to extract just this, because we said that this XS object consists of two types of data, the index and the matrix, we can extract this. And there's a function coming from zoo, okay, where we can extract this. And that function is called core data. Okay, so let's do that. I want you to write this. Okay, let me show okay, this one, class. So here I'm creating an object called apple.matrix, and this comes from zoo. Okay, when you use the namespace zoo, then that means that we don't need to load it But just the same, this has already been loaded. If you check packages here, and then type zoo here, zoo. Okay, you know that this is already loaded. Okay, there. It's already checked, and I did not load that. I did not use library or require zoo. And it's loaded, as we said, it's loaded automatically when we load quant mode. Okay, because that's a dependency of quant mode. All right. Okay, so let's go back here. There, class. Okay, let me share these notes with you. Okay, so this one, class, apple.matrix, we're using the core data function, apple. And then let's print the first three rows. Tell me, please, what's the result? What do you have now? If you view apple.matrix, what's its difference from the apple object? Kindly chat, please. Okay, Nicole, no date, but But what about the data, Nicole?
Sir, yung sa ano po, yung Apple Matrix, wala po siyang dates.
Okay, but the
Numbers
data
lang
is
po.
everything, no? Open, high, low, close,
Opo,
complete,
opo.
right? Complete. But you notice the index now, it does not have the date index. Okay, because we're just extracting the core data. All right. So everyone got this? I have your confirmation. Kindly chat yes or no if you have any questions. Thank you, Nicole. That's correct. Thank you. All right, good. Let's wait for the others to respond. Okay, I hope we get more than 30 plus responses. Okay, all right, thank you. Now, of course, we can also extract the index. And as you must have guessed, it's index function. So this is also from zoo. Apple.index, let's call it apple.index, and then index apple. And then let's print the first 3 rows. And what is that? Okay, so I'll return to the apple.matrix in a while. Okay, so what consists index class? Apple.index. Okay, dates. Okay, good. Thank you, Louis. Luis, thank you. How about the others class? Did you get the same thing? Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, let's just take a look at the first. Let's take a look at apple.matrix. So apple.matrix will be found under your data. It's not a vector. It's not. It will not be found in your values. So if I look for that apple.matrix, okay, I don't think I have run it. Let me run it first. Here, let me run this. Okay, and so it should now be here. So take note of this class. Okay, so it's different from the Apple object because you can see your yung Apple object, ano? Meron siyang button dito if I click this. Okay, so XTS object, it contains other objects here, may mga attributes siya, etc. Si matrix, walang ganyan, di ba? It doesn't have something like that. It's just this one, apple.matrix, and it's numerical. However, this is not a vector. Okay, kasi dalawa siya, tingnan nyo. Okay, meron siyang 1 up to 6541, comma, 1 up to 6. So meron siyang rows and columns, which differentiates it from a vector. Kasi ang vector, isa lang yan, di ba? One row, usually. Or, yeah, one, I mean, one column. Okay. And if we take a look at, if we check what's the class of AAPL dot matrix. Okay, you guessed it right. It's a matrix. It's an array, and a matrix or an array is, of course, based on your knowledge of data structures. It's different. Okay, and it's different also from a data frame. Because a data frame will always contain, it contains rows and columns, but each of the columns there will have their own labels. Ang matrix, wala, no? Wala siya. So, for example, if I print this here, if I view this, tingnan nyo siya, no? Okay. Ito siya. Although ito, class, okay, may label yung columns natin. Alright? Okay, this one. But technically, okay, itong matrix na to, class, consists of these elements here. Matrix or array. Okay, now how about the index? Yung index, class, nasan siya? Nasa data o nasa values? Nasa values siya. Okay, I haven't run my okay, let me run my apple.index. Sorry. Okay, this one. Let me just run this. And apple.index will fall under values. Kaso, class, hindi siya numeric, no? It's not a numeric vector. Kasi, for example, let me create an object called A, and it is, let's say, sabihin natin 1 up to 10. You can see here A, it's a numeric vector, integer siya. And it's distinguished from A, alt minus, and if we put here C, and then 1 up to 10, ay sorry, kamali ako. Okay, let me call it B. C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm naming it, class. Okay, B is numeric. Okay. If we use this 1 up to 10, it will be integer. Okay, that is a I hope you have watched on data and data structures. All right. So si B at saka si A dito, these are numeric vectors. Pero ito si apple.index, it's a date vector. So which means yung laman niya, mga dates, no? Hindi siya characters na 1998, 01, 02, etc. They are all dates. Yung laman ng apple.index. So if you take a look at the ito, no? Yung Apple index, if you get the class, it's date eh. Date siya, no? And the structure is, yan, date siya. Whether you use the class function or the structure function, it tells us that this is a date. And ito yung format niya. Year, month, day format. Okay, pause for a while. And then please chat if so far clear tayo. Clear tayo about the core data of an XCS object and then the index index data, the date vector. Okay, now because of this, class, it's very easy to manipulate. No? It's very easy to manipulate an XCS object. Yung index, talagang malaking tulong yon. Okay? Kasi, class, how are dates really treated? How are dates treated in R? Okay, so let me share this short note with you. Control C, Control V. Okay, so a date object in R, the default of it is in this format, unless you change the format. You can change the format, of course. There are ways to change the format, and I refer you to this very powerful package called Lubridate. I think I have a few discussion of that in the data structures video, but you may wish to if you want to improve or enhance your knowledge about how to deal with dates, you can check the Lubridate package, and there are many examples there. Okay, now first take a look at this function. So what's this apple.index class? What is this? Could you please chat? Or could you please tell me, ano yung object na apple.index na to? What's this class? Apple.index. What is it, class? Check your environment. Okay, so it's what? One of the values of what? It's coming from class what? It's an object, right? It's your date object. It's your date vector. Ito yung mga dates ng ano natin, ng Apple object natin, di ba, class? That apple.index. And then what does this do, class? What does that do? Yung bracket 1. Remember what's the function of a bracket, class? Okay, so I see some answers here. What are we subsetting? Yeah, you're correct. It's used to subset, but what are we subsetting? Yeah, correct. That's the first. And not the first row, because there's only one row. Okay, there's only one row. The first element. Okay. Okay, so we're subsetting the first element of that lone row. Or if you can view it as a column, then it's the first element of that column. Okay, sorry, I stand corrected. Because we have only one column, then you cannot use that. So it's one row, okay, and no, it's a row vector. You have several rows, 6,000 plus rows, and we're subsetting the first element there. And the first element is this one, right? Apple.index. It's 1998-01-02. That's the first element. So in effect, we're accessing this. And then we're using this code as that numeric. Now take note, this first element, the 1998-01-02, is a date, right? Kasi galing siya sa apple.index, and apple.index is a date vector. Now, if we ask R to convert it into a numeric value, can we do that? Can a date be converted into a numeric? The answer is, Control Enter, yes. The answer is 10228. So where is this coming from, this 10228? How in the world was this 1998-01-02 converted into 10228? Now it makes sense because R uses this date, January 1, 1970, as time 0. So this is where it all begins. No? So this is time 0. Therefore, January 2, 1970 is time 1. So that's 1 day after January 1. And this 10228 means that, sorry class, this 10228 means that this is the 1998-01-02 is 10,228 days after January 1, 1970. Okay? So it's always benchmark referred to this January 1, 1970. So this is the time 0, this is marker 0. And any date, any number, okay, let's see. For example, class, let's make as that date, okay, as that date